this is video log 62. I think it's 62. I've been kind of busy lately, trying to be more productive because I started reading a book called Atomic Habits. And well, even before that, I think is going through last week, the breakthrough sessions, right? Trying to get myself started again and be more motivated to get on with my entrepreneurship journey. So, and I also got a recommendation for a book to read called The Atomic Habit, and that is to change your view on how to gain new habits. And then really, I think what really resonated with me is when they discuss that when small little change has a huge outcome. Like, I guess people probably heard of it, is that like if you are driving a 737 or flying a 737 Boeing airplane, right? That if you just, let's say if you're heading over to New York City and you just change your trajectory of the nose of your plane by about 7 feet, 6 to 7 feet. And honestly, that's not a lot considering how big that plane is, right? That if you do that, you will actually end up in Washington, D.C. So really talking about how small these little things can build up and either make or break what you wanted to do. And that really hit home for me, because partially it's because the last few couple years, especially during COVID, that I have developed a very bad habit of sleeping very late. I mean, I like to sleep late, especially on days that I have some time, but because of COVID, I have been sleeping later and later to the day, and as well as just the habit of not wanting to do anything, partially because during COVID there's really nothing to do, so, and you feel kind of very unmotivated about everything, so you don't do anything. And unfortunately those bad habits kind of set in and made me who I am today, which is bad, because I can remember that I have always been a person that knows how to enjoy myself. However, I also work very hard, because not that I work very hard, I'm just very active. Like, I like to learn stuff, I like to be out doing something and be accomplished, and I think really, if you look back at it, it's really the past 7 years or so that I have become very stagnant in my career as well as at home and everything. The only thing that I feel like I was working consistently on was dancing, and you can see that my dancing, or I can tell that my dancing has improved dramatically from the first day that I stepped into the studio. So yeah, I guess if you have a habit to dance, then you will get better, and you don't really see it, the result of it, until later. And I can totally understand that, because if you're a dancer, I don't know if you might hear of somebody telling you that you might spend a lot of time practicing and learning, but you will seem like you have plateaued and not make any progress, even though you continue change. Like, you might be learning about how to do a lot of things, techniques and whatnot, but you might feel like you're still doing the same, I might pop there, that you're still dancing the same way. But one day without you realizing, you'll be like, hey, I'm dancing so much better now. But what happened is this an overnight thing? But it's not, right? I guess it's a build-up from all these things that you've been learning and working on, and one day you reach that level where without even you noticing. It's kind of like when they talk about a block of ice in a house that were probably 25 degrees Celsius, 25 degrees Fahrenheit, right? So the block of ice doesn't change. And you increase it 1 degree at a time to 26. The block doesn't do anything. The ice doesn't do anything. 27, 28, 29. And even you can do it 1 at a time to 31 degrees and nothing. Like the ice doesn't change. And you're like, what the hell, right? And then all of a sudden you change your thermostat to 32 and your block will start melting. And it will just melt. So I guess it's the same concept, right? The block of ice didn't melt just at 1 degree change. The block of ice start melting because of the buildup of the temperature that you have been doing since it was at 25 degrees. So I gotta kind of focus on that a little bit and think about it and keep that in mind. And talking about habits, how we really need to think about how we build a topic. So I'm still on this book, and it's really cool because it talks about the identity of ourselves, and the habits that we are allowed, that we retain and maintain, that we can do consistently are the habits that enforces who we identify ourselves with. Like let's say, because like I made a lot of, I dance a lot, I practice a lot. I identify myself as a dancer, an amateur dancer. And I think I've gotten that identity or have told myself that I will be long time ago. Maybe not the first year. After the second year, I started to tell people that oh yeah, that might be the turning point, right? I started telling people that dancing is not a hobby. Dancing is my passion. I am a competitive dancer. And obviously at that moment, it doesn't really, I'm not connecting all the dots, right? But listening to this book is kind of like, maybe that is why I'm able to retain and keep on dancing and working hard toward it, because I told myself that I reconfirm, or I don't know the right word is, reaffirm myself every single day that, and every time when people talk about how, oh, dancing is my hobby, I love dancing, it's a great hobby, and I told them, and I would tell them, no, it's not my hobby, it's my passion. So I strive to do better at something that I'm passionate on, and I spent a lot more time using that. So I really need to translate that to my other parts of my life. It's kind of like my dance partner, he is fairly fit, and he take pride in being fit. So he works very hard at keeping his body fit, keeping his health, and it's something that he do consistently, right? I'm sure if he tells people like, I don't need to be fit, or I'm just so-so, then you might not work so hard on it, because it's not really that hard to be so-so, like just a so-so, not so healthy person, right? So I think that message really hit home for me, is that we need to change fundamentally what we believe or identify ourselves as in order to develop good habits that reaffirm who we identify ourselves as, right? If you identify yourself as a professional golfer, for example, I'm pretty sure you will be working hard to maintain that image, right? That work hard, practice every single day, or many, very frequently, to maintain your image of being a professional golfer, correct? So, I guess I would need to identify myself as an entrepreneur. I think before this, I have always told myself that I would like to be an entrepreneur. I don't think I ever identify myself as an entrepreneur. And there's even though it's just a couple words or just one word difference, I guess it's like night and day, right? If you want to be one, that's your goal. But if you are one, then that's your identity, like what they said. So in order to be an entrepreneur, I need to identify myself as one, and the actions that I take every single day should support my identity as an entrepreneur. Does it make sense? I think I'm kind of getting it, but I really need to repeat this message to myself every single day, that I am one. I am not a worker bee. I am not a person. I'm not a corporate person. I'm an entrepreneur. I am a business person. So yeah, I think that's my biggest takeaway so far. I'm pretty sure in the book it will tell me, they'll probably discuss more of how to get it there. But I think the big idea that really hit home for me is that we need to identify as the one that we would like to be, instead of saying that my goal is to be that person. Because what do you do after you reach your goal? And I can remember a time where I was preparing for a competition in the beginning of my dance career, and the whole time I was thinking, I want to compete in this competition. My goal is to do well in the competition, or compete, prepare for my competition. So I was really busy. I was working very hard for like 6 months preparing for that competition. And then after the competition was done, you know what happened? I felt empty. I felt like I had no purpose in life. I had depression for 2 months because of the fact that I set a goal and I have reached a goal, and that's it. I didn't have anything else to live for. Isn't that sad? Like, if I had just said and say, I'm a competitive dancer, then I'll be working toward the next competition, and I won't feel so empty. But I did. I felt so empty until I set another goal and say, oh, the year after I'm going to competition. Then that actually gave me a little bit more motivation. But that's a big difference between when you're saying you're a competitive dancer, that you are always working to improve yourself. You are not improving yourself for a competition, but you're improving yourself as a competitive dancer. And that is what I tell my student as well, that we are not working to win the next competition. We're working to be a better dancer, so we're ready for the next level and the level before, after that. And that's a huge difference. So yeah, that's what I got. I hope if you're listening to this that you get some motivation out of it as well, that maybe we can try change our thinking, right? Instead of I am gonna lose 20 pounds in the next 6 months, maybe we can think of more of I am a fit person, I'm active and fit. And then we have to take on habits to affirm that, right? Exercising every day, eating healthy, and eventually we'll be able to lose that weight healthily. Not just lose weight, but we'll be more fit. Yeah. Good luck, everybody. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.